This Sunday was, of course, the Oscars. This
Yes.
was one of the most anticipated Oscars I've actually think that people were looking forward to in a while because
hmm
we had great films last year. Even though with the delays and stuff that happened, the nominees, everyone that was voted or was being voted for, felt totally earned, totally deserved. There was a lot of things that I was excited to see win, and the Oscars in the past, their shows haven't necessarily been the most exciting. I mean, I for one can sometimes find the Oscars to be a drag to get through. I'll just be honest. Like, I'm not someone in the movie community who gets super amped about the Oscars. Also, I don't always see everything. Very rarely do I ever see everything that's nominated. And my whole thing is, if I haven't seen it, I can't have an opinion about it. So,
Right.
for example, The Boy and the Heron won animated. I wanted Spider-Verse to win. I haven't seen Boy and the
I
Heron though,
was
so
I was floored. That was the biggest
yeah.
surprise of the night for me because I did see Boy and the Heron. I saw the English dubbed version with Robert Pattinson playing the weird creature, but that was I enjoyed it. I enjoyed how weird it all was. I thought it was a very endearing story, but Across the Spider-Verse was clearly better than that movie. I think in every facet, but the Academy didn't see it that way, and that's okay. Movies are subjective. So
Yeah,
I've
absolutely.
gotten past the point where I'm like done hounding the Academy and wasting my energy because at the end of the day, it is one board's opinion.
Mhm.
But we can everybody can have their own opinions. That's what's great about movies.
Yeah. And the great thing about the Oscars this year is the show was actually pretty decent. I
Yeah.
actually I actually found sitting down watching the Oscars. I mean, there was a couple things still that I was like, okay, not a fan, but overall, great show. And
Uh-huh.
apparently, a lot of people thought that too, because according to the Hollywood Reporter, this was the most watched Oscars in years. Here's what they had to say. The 2024 Oscars were the most watched in 4 years. The Jimmy Kimmel hosted telecast on ABC averaged 19.5 million viewers, according to time zone adjusted fast national ratings from Nielsen. That's a 4% increase from a year ago. The 96 Academy Awards scored the biggest audience for any award show since 2020, when that year's Oscars held a month before the US went into lockdown in the early days of COVID-19 pandemic. Drew 23.6 million viewers. And that comes to us from
Wow.
the Hollywood Reporter. So we are getting to the point now where I have to take this off. There we go. We are we are getting to the point where the ratings almost match pre-pandemic numbers. And in
Yeah.
4 years, it's because the Oscars were in a slump. Like, let's just admit it. The Oscars were in a slump. Every time the Oscars ended for the last 4 years, all you heard was the least amount of viewers they've ever had, the least amount of viewers the Oscars ever had, year after year. But
hmm
they did something right this year, man. So I want to get into it. This isn't going to be like a full recap of the Oscars, but I want to talk about some of our favorite moments from the Oscars, man. What's something that happened during the Oscars? What's a moment someone won? What made you happy? How did you feel about the Oscars?
Well, I was very satisfied, Zach, with this year's Oscars, and I feel like a big reason for that ratings increase was actually because you had some nominees this year that felt like big deals. Because you
Mm-hmm.
remember the Barbenheimer trend, that double
Yes,
feature. People were going to the movie theaters in droves last summer to see both of those movies.
that's
That is a
right.
double feature that you just like. I own both Blu-rays. Like I can't do that. Like I can't watch one of those movies without the other one now because it's like I can't help but think of like when I think of Oppenheimer, which was my favorite movie of last year, I can't help but think of Barbie because it came out the same day. you know, um,
That's very true.
but I feel like some of my favorite moments from the show might surprise you. I really loved a lot of the speeches that we got this year.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and a lot of the winners I felt like were well deserved. Robert Downey Jr.'s win
Yeah, man.
was incredibly emotional speech. Loved seeing him get up there and like give the presidential pose. Divine Joy Randolph, no surprise that she won for the holdovers. Great
So
movie.
happy, man. I'm so happy.
Yeah. Emma Stone, listen, I get why people are a little bit upset that it wasn't Lily Gladstone, but the fact that Emma Stone has 2 Oscars to her name and she's only in her 30s, like
Yeah.
there that is impressive in and of itself. Killian Murphy might have been my favorite speech of the entire night because
Mm-hmm.
it felt like when he went up there, he took the time to greet every single presenter. And I saw someone on Twitter, they were like, look at how Cillian Murphy takes time with all these legends, McConaughey, Ben Kingsley. I forget who else was up there. Brendan Fraser was certainly up there reading out the names.
Yes.
But
Ki Kwan passing the Oscar over.
Yeah, Ki Huy Kwan gave RDJ the Oscar because I believe Ki Huy Kwan won.
Oh, you're right. You're right. Yeah.
So no, it's okay. It's okay. No, Brendan Fraser as the Best Actor winner last year got to give out this year's. It's per the Academy's tradition. But Cillian Murphy is such a class act because he took the time with all these legends and he shook every one of their hands, and the crowd let him have it. This guy's ovation was staggering. And Christopher Nolan finally has an Oscar win to his name after all this time.
Another jump off the couch moment for me is when he won.
Thank God. Thank God they picked the right one. But, I mean...
his speech was probably my favorite speech. Like, just like industry-wise. Well, I also liked the screenwriter for American Fiction. How he was like Hollywood, like, give $20 million to 10 movies instead of these $200 million. Like, you can do more. There's another Christopher Nolan, there's another Greta out there, and I thought that was a really good speech. But I really liked what I liked about who were we talking about now? I forget. Christopher Nolan. When you're talking about Christopher Nolan, I thought it was really almost like profound when he was like, film is 100 years old. Think of where painting and this was at 100 years, and think of where film can still go. Like, I thought that was great. I thought that was a great moment.
And now Christopher Nolan's next movie, whenever that is, when that trailer comes out, people are going to be watching it and waiting for that Academy Award winner Christopher Nolan title. Because everybody's going to know who he is now. And there's a chance that his next movie could even beat Oppenheimer's box office return.
Yeah.
Because of
that's
how...
a feat.
It is a feat. It is a feat. But, Oppenheimer was just an incredible movie. That was my favorite movie of last year. So I'm glad that I got that pick right. Best Picture, at least this time.
Yeah, speaking of Best Picture, what the heck was Al Pacino doing, dude?
I don't know. I don't know.
I was like kind of let down. Like, the build-up, the Best Picture.
They usually pick, like, a legendary name that's still around in Hollywood. Like, last year was Harrison Ford, who felt like a very fitting name to give Everything Everywhere All at Once the Oscar. Yeah, no, Harrison Ford in his 80s. I think Al Pacino's in his 80s at this point. Yeah, might as well have Robert De Niro get up there and do it next year.
I have the envelope here. I'm gonna open it now. This is Best Picture. I'm seeing Oppenheimer.
What the?
Which is like. So they won? Is that what happened?
Are you sure it was Pacino, or was that Christopher Walken you were doing?
Dude, I can't do accents. I'm terrible at them.
Now, so the winner
there you go.
Best Picture nomination, the Oscar goes to... I see Oppenheimer. But here you go. Christopher Nolan, this item is non-returnable. You can't do it.
Golden Globe.
Yeah.
No, dude, that was really good. No, but like that build up to Best Picture is always so exciting, and I just felt like I did read that the producers told him not to, I guess, give the nominations time because they were doing Best Picture film reels throughout the whole thing, but I was disappointed by it for sure.
What do you think was the biggest surprise of the show? What was
probably this? Probably this when this happened.
It's weird because I'm looking at a picture of a stage and a microphone. Am I supposed to be looking at a person?
Dude, everybody saw John Cena that night.
No, it was weird because like someone sent me a clip and Jimmy Kimmel was doing part of his monologue and people started laughing. And it's like the camera was pointing at a random part of the stage, like somebody was there. Like I couldn't see anybody. So
honestly though, this was my favorite gag of the night. I thought first of all, you can kind of see if you're brave enough to look at his groin. He is wearing something, so it's not as bad as some people thought it was. But I'll tell you why this was my favorite moment of the night. I'll tell you why. Because it immediately followed that terrible Chip and Dale's bit that Melissa McCarthy and Kate Or was it Kate? No, it wasn't Kate
Yeah.
McKinnon. Kate McKinnon did the Jurassic Park. Who was it? It was who was with
Was
Melissa McCarthy? It was
I don't
oh, I
remember.
can't remember what her name is, but
I don't want to
Octavia
say.
Spencer. It was Octavia
Oh,
Spencer, I think it
Octavia
was.
Spencer. What?
Yes. Melissa McCarthy, Octavia Spencer, they did this stupid, we're Chip and Dale. Oh, we're Chip and Dales? No, we're Chip and Dale. And it went on for like 2 minutes. And I was like, oh my gosh, dude. Like,
Move on.
even Jimmy Kimmel's jokes, I didn't think were that great during the
No.
monologue, during everything.
Oh
Like,
no. No. And
yeah.
that's another off-topic question, but do you think like we're done with Jimmy Kimmel hosting the Oscars?
Every time he hosts, something goes wrong with Best Picture. So I think he might become a bad omen, a bad omen for the Oscars.
I don't know, man. I was talking to my mom about this, actually, of all people, and I was like, do you think the Academy is just going to be sick of Jimmy Kimmel? And she's like, well, to tell you the truth, nobody in Hollywood wants to host the Oscars because of all the, like, of the huge spotlight that's going to be on them and all the pressure that's going to be on them. Jimmy Kimmel just isn't funny. In his, like, monologue, he made a joke about Emma Stone, and you could actually see Emma Stone, like, like you could read her lips to her husband who was sitting next to her, and she was like, what a prick.
Yeah.
What a prick, like, get him off the Jimmy Kimmel is no Billy Crystal, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah,
So,
that's very true. But here's what I'll say about Jimmy Kimmel. Like, the Oscars is a thankless job. Like, it's you either get hated or you do a good job and no one cares, kind of thing. But it takes a lot to host the show. And he does it.
Yeah.
And he does have confidence when he's up there. I'll give him that. So, and I didn't think he was I don't think he's terrible. I didn't think he, like, there was a couple things. There were a couple lines that had me the Madam Web shots, all of them got me laughing pretty good. They were all pretty good.
Because Madam Web deserves all the shots.
Yeah, absolutely. And I liked I didn't like the Robert Downey Jr. jokes very much. It just kind of felt poor taste and so 90s. Like, seriously, dude, we're still joking about him and his drug addiction. Like, on the night that he's nominated for like the biggest, most prestigious, like, come on, dude, don't do that.
Yeah, one of them, Best Supporting Actor. Yeah, that's certainly up there.
But anyways, going back to my original point, this moment for me is when the show came alive. Because I thought the banter between him and Jimmy was great. The buildup of referencing the streaker from like the 70s who ran across the stage, and then ending it with John Cena out there with nothing but a card. Costumes are very important. I was like, that was a really good setup. That was a really good build, and that comedic ending like hit really, really hard for me. And that's Jimmy. You got to give props. That's Jimmy Kimmel as well. Jimmy Kimmel sets that up. So it's not that he wasn't entirely unfunny. He had some good ideas, and that was one of my favorites. I thought it was hilarious.
Mad props to Cena for, like, leaning into the comedy, because, like, I said this in one of my last reviews, he's a funny guy. He's proven so many times, like in movies in the past, like Blockers, Peacemaker, like, that's not a movie, but regardless, like, he's just goofy, and he is willing to do anything to get a laugh. This to me felt like Hollywood was hazing John Cena. Like, he went in there like,
really?
Yeah, no, like, who else would go out there freaking naked on the Oscars?
I think he loved it. Look what he does in Peacemaker. He's hardly wearing clothes in Peacemaker.
I'm sure he did.
He wants the world to see.
I'm sure he did. He wanted to be accepted into, like, these, like, into this prestigious room of actors, if you will. It's almost like I never got into the Greek life in college. I never wanted to get into a fraternity or anything like that. This honestly felt like John Cena's initiation into the frat house.
Interesting.
So, I don't know.
All right, I'll tell you straight up, I don't agree with you. I think he was totally game. I think it was all in fun. I think he probably had a ball. He probably even in some ways suggested it. I don't know. I can't prove that, but it wouldn't surprise me if he was like, "Hey, Kimmel, just like let me out there." Like,
I doubt he suggested it, but I mean, the fact that nobody could see him, he still has his dignity. So,
anyways, moving on from John Cena, all of John Cena. You definitely saw John Cena. Let's talk about probably one of the best Oscar performances ever. Definitely more than Knuff. Knuff was I'm Just Ken live with Ryan Gosling, the cast of Barbie, and Slash.
This ruled, dude. This freaking ruled. I don't care what anybody says. Like, say what you want about the Academy not really recognizing Greta Gerwig and Margot Robbie because, like, in all honesty, they should have been recognized. Margot Robbie should have been in that Best Actress category. Greta Gerwig should have been nominated for Best Director. But Ryan Gosling was recognized, and I'm Just Ken was also recognized for Best Original Song, which
Yes.
honestly was inevitable. Like you guys should have expected this ever since the movie came out. I'm glad that the Billie Eilish song won over this because that definitely related the message a lot more than this one.
Her
But the
performance was
fact,
really good too. She was
oh yeah,
really good.
it was beautiful, absolutely beautiful. The Ryan Gosling's performance though, we don't get a lot of movie stars like this. Like just the fact that he commands the room no matter what,
Yes.
no matter what kind of goofy situation he's put into. The fact that he starts the song in the crowd sitting behind Margot Robbie and she is just bursting out into laughter like she can't help herself. And the fact that you have karaoke lyrics on the wall that Martin Scorsese, I guess, was singing along to.
Yeah.
He goes up to his female counterparts in the front row from Barbie. He goes up to his good friend Emma Stone and she sings a little bit. It was awesome. It was so awesome. Such a great moment. Loved it.
But even beyond that, though, this was the epitome of the movie year 2023. Like, I'm Just Ken kind of encapsulates just the excitement and the love and joy and almost like come togetherness that we had in the movies of 2023. So to see everyone like up on their feet as this was being performed, it was magical. It was the magic of the movies that we used to talk about all the. I don't even know if people talk about that as often anymore. But when I was growing up, the magic of the movies was always talked about.
It was so surreal, man. It was surreal. I wanted this to be one of the best Oscar song performances ever, and lo and behold, that's exactly what we got.
Yeah, I completely agree. So in the end, like, super excited that Davine Joy Randolph won for Best Supporting Actress. Loved the holdovers. Was very happy to see that. Loved that Robert Downey Jr. won. Loved that Cillian Murphy won. I loved that Godzilla -1 won for visual effects.
Oh,
I was so
awesome.
happy, and
that was awesome.
So heartwarmed when those people went up with their Godzilla statues, just like this little team that could in visual effects.
Their hot toys.
Yes. Like, oh, it was so wholesome.
Toys.
I loved it. It was so wholesome. I loved that moment so much. I thought it was great. There was just a lot of moments that made me reminded why I love the movies, why I love filmmaking. And it truly felt like a celebration of the art at the Oscars this year. And I thought they did a really good job. Now, I'm torn on how they did the actor and actresses nominations. Because in concept, I liked the past winners coming out to give honor to the now nominated, and then the physical passing of the torch from the previous Oscar winner to the new Oscar winner. In concept, I really liked that. But to me, having every single member talk about one of them, it did cause a pacing issue for the show for me. I did think it made it just a little bit too long. And for someone like my mom, who's a way more casual, and this was another big thing with the Al Pacino Best Picture, my mom liked seeing the clips, like seeing the glimpses.
Yeah.
She's the casual audience who doesn't pay attention to all this. She doesn't know all these movies. She doesn't know 90% of these movies. And the Oscars is like her preview into what is she interested in based on those clip packages. And you can argue that when they came back from commercial, they did play some clips from some of the movies, not all of the movies. But I just feel like the clip packages does make the show go a little bit faster. And it does give the casual audience, like my mom, that glimpse into what movie they're nominated for and if she's interested in watching it or not. But like at the same time, though, I did think that it was a pretty like beautiful thing to see the past winner give it to the new, even if Robert Downey Jr. kind of pried it out of Kiwa's hands.
He couldn't wait. He couldn't wait.
Yeah.
I am inevitable. I'm pretty sure that's what he said to Kiwi Kwan. But yeah, poor guy.
What do you think of that, man? Did you like that they presented that way?
No. I mean, I knew it was a tradition to have the previous year's winner go out there and present the award to the next one. It was interesting to see multiple former winners out there talking about these people. Like you have Jennifer Lawrence up there talking about I don't even remember which nominee she had. I know Sally Field had Emma Stone though, which was interesting. Jennifer Lawrence, I feel like, should have been the one to talk about Emma Stone, considering how close of friends they are in real life. But
yeah,
I don't know. I mean, it just felt to me like the nominees were being talked about like by random like picks, you know, like out of the crop that they had. It just felt like, okay, what's their connection to this person? What's Ben Kingsley's connection to this person? What's Brendan Fraser's connection to this person? You know,
we did have a moment where Justin Hammer was talking to Tony Stark and Blade was talking to Bruce Banner. So I geeked out at that moment. That was kind of fun.
I love when Emma Stone won. Emma Stone's speech was so heartwarming too.
Yeah.
And, like, her tribute to her 3-year-old daughter, and I had no idea that Emma Stone was actually a mom. Like,
I didn't either. No idea.
It doesn't surprise me, but Emma Stone saying that her little daughter turned her life technicolor was such a beautiful, poignant line. It might resonate more with me once I become a parent, but like, wow.
Yeah.
that moved me. That certainly moved me. I loved Mark Ruffalo's reaction to Emma Stone's win too. He was so happy. But
yeah, that was one thing I loved too, was seeing like people who are clearly legit friends in the business. Like that's one of the fun of the Oscars every year, is seeing them like interact and get, because like was it Cillian? Yeah, it was Cillian Murphy when he gave that big hug to like Emily Blunt, and John Krasinski was kind of like, okay, that's my wife, a little bit too long, buddy, but but it was just like, it's just those wholesome, beautiful moments, you know.
I mean, it's Emily Blunt after all, so can't say I blame him.
No, anyway. But you know, with that said, yeah, they did a good job with it. I'll be honest, this was one of my favorite Oscars to watch.
Good
in
ceremony.
Recent years.
Good ceremony. I think it's the best it's been since I started YouTube, at least.
Yeah, I agree with that for sure.
Yeah, can't tell you how many times I've watched that I'm Just Ken performance. It was so awesome.
It's so good. Well, thank you very much for checking out this clip from our live show that we do every Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, called Zach Milne Talks Live. If you like talking movies, if you like talking movie news, why don't you consider hitting that subscribe button before you leave? We do that on this channel all the time. But if you still need some time before you fully commit, you can check out the full video this clip is from right here, and you can check out another video over here. The subscribe button's right here.